thing on this as a back. I've got another thing
Oh,
to
oh, sure. Yeah.
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 Uh, did you ever imagine in your 30 years of Lacuna Coil and its early names as well that you'd have board games and miniatures of yourself? Like, is this a side dream that you've always kind of had that then came to fruition over the last however long?
I mean, no, we never expected it. We didn't even expect to have a career that was this long because when we did our demo in '96, we were this little gothic metal band from Milan, and it's not really rock and roll heaven. So we didn't expect it even to get signed by a label, because there was not much history of other Italian metal bands coming from the underground, signing to bigger labels and stuff. So we didn't have much. Obviously, there's always a little hope for it, but we never expected it to happen. And more than that, we never expect to become an international touring band that lasts this many years. We are now on our 10th album. It's something absolutely out of any possible expectation. So we have definitely surpass every possible vision we could have of the band and of our career. And even more to have been a video game or get our song used in a game or have action on our board game, our card games. It's all beyond any expectation for sure.
Very cool. Speaking of the 10th album, this is the first album, and when it's released, it'll be 6 years. As of this recording, it's about five. But in the meantime, you've had
Yeah,
the Comalized 20 or XX album come out a few years ago. But it's been since new material, it's been a minute, and there's been so much that's
yeah.
changed in the world. That's the pandemic stuff, the whole band life going away and coming back in like a new shape or something like that. And how much of just like that time is reflected in this album lyrically and emotionally and all that?
Yeah, we didn't want to be talking about the pandemic itself because obviously anybody has had to deal with it in one way or another. So it was definitely a weird time of our life, but we didn't want to really talk about the virus or people dying or that stuff. Is This album is more coming from the post world after COVID, and Sleepless Empire is the kind of concept. Let's say it's not a concept album because every song lyrics are different topics, but in general we always use a common topic that could be the underlying red tape of everything. And so we use Sleepless Empire as a concept because we are the first generation of people that have been living both world, the analog world but without the internet, when we were just do everything analog, and the digital era. And we feel that the current generation, which is only lived through the digital era, it seems they're getting a little bit lost in this new world. I think we have more of a we have a struggle to find our place in this new world, but we also had the experience of having to do things face to face, and everything has been experienced personally, while this new generation has been more only elaborating thoughts through the internet, through the digital world, communicated through the digital world, and not as much through the real concrete world, and the analog world. So this is the overall reflection, and we are also facing these changes, and we feel like we're too overwhelmed by the quantity of information that we have, the so many possibilities. But in the end, it's very hard to use these possibilities because it's so fast. Everything is so fast. Everything changes every day in the music business, in the real life, in the dating, in every possible aspect of our life. That it's very hard to find an elaborate and find something more concrete, more solid. So we feel this confusion, and that's why we call it the sleepless empire, because we have this huge empire with all these possibilities. But on the other hand, we're always attached to a screen somehow, and we don't even sleep anymore. We're just always on, always online, always into being exposed to inputs. So we that's the basic idea that comes after, especially, and it came especially after the COVID, because everybody had a lot of time at home and being online was the only way to be in touch with the rest of the world. And so we wanted to start from this point and then move into the other lyrics, which are more into the real life experiences that we have every day, which is more the way we always been writing lyrics.
Your drummer's a bit younger than yourself and a lot of the more the longer people in the band. How
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think he's about my age. He's I think 35, I'm 36, and we're kind of on the tail
yeah,
end of that generation you're talking about
yeah,
where it's in between.
yeah.
But have you still had to sort of not explain, but just relate that this concept or this idea to him in like different ways? And like, do you go to him for like
Le
newer techie stuff?
less than some other things. I noticed a difference also with the new guy we're working with on guitars, which is a friend that is helping us at the moment. We're trying to work with him, and he's also younger. He's like 32. So it's we notice a certain difference, but it's not such a huge gap still. I think we're in, as you say, you're probably the very last ones to be crossing those two worlds, before the kids with the phone in their hands when they're three, that didn't happen to us. No, it happened later on. But surely you can notice that they're a bit more familiar with certain ways to move in the digital world for sure. But that's not a huge difference, I think. I think there's more a difference with the people in their 20, 25, people in their 30s nowadays is a bit more, not obviously there is a difference, but it's not such a huge gap, I think.
Yeah, I think, the last generation had a computer room. The room I'm recording in, my wife and I lovingly refer to as the 90s computer room because it's just like where my home office stuff is. And so that's basically an age joke for us and us alone. But now, in the press release for the album, it mentions that you guys in the band look to newer bands for inspiration. And is this something you've always done in the run of the band, or is this something newer over the last few albums or something?
No, that's something we've always have been as a band, as people as well. Like me and Marco, the bass player, which is the main songwriter for the band. We've been knowing each other because we were skateboarders when we were kids. So we were always open to listen. We started listening to like hardcore punk, bands like the Black Flag, Descendants, Blast, Circle Jerks, and then also the metal from the 80s, so early Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Pantera, 90s music. And so we grew up always mixing more rock alternative stuff with punk, with metal. So we always been very curious about music. We never only listened to one genre. And then when we found out about the wave of sort of doomy gothic metal was coming out in the mid 90s, like Paradise Lost, Typo Negative, Tiamat, Anathema, those bands. That's where we kind of were developing our more personal style as a band, and we were more getting serious into music. So I think those were the bands that really got us into playing a little the darker side of metal, the gothier side of metal. But as people, we always kind of look forward. We never like to look too much in the past. Sometimes, of course, can do your research also in the past. Sometimes you find out some, like on the pandemic. I was listening to a lot of the Americana music, like the Fleetwood Mac, all those bands that I never really paid too much attention when I was younger. Because it was maybe already older people music. And so I dig in the new stuff, but also in the older stuff as well. And I think there is always something cool about everything that can inspire you. And the new generation, I think it's really important the approach they have with music. This is something we can't have because we had it when we were 20, 25, 30. Now obviously the approach they have, we can't have because we already know certain things. We already have a pre-constructed taste or certain impostation or something like that, while the new generation, they just go with the flow of the moment, and that kind of freshness we can't have. We can only listen and learn from the newer generation and this kind of approach. Obviously we do have our developed our style, and we do know how to write our own songs, but I think it's important that we keep an eye on the new music because it's always a different approach that it's impossible for us to have.
Mhm. I think on the new album there's a song called Scarecrow that reminds me a lot of like Bad Omens,
Yeah,
really just like heavy groove forward stuff
yeah,
that's going on right now. And I think you guys pulled off really well. Is there
yeah. It's sometimes you ask yourself how much can you push the boundaries.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't want to you don't want to lose your trademark in a way. And but also, and I think we don't lose it because it's quite radicated into us. The way we sing, the way we have the two voices. I think that you recognize Lacuna Coil even if the song is a little bit different or heavier or whatever. But sometimes there is this balance to be found.
Is there a genre that you guys have dabbled in that just didn't work? Like you mentioned Americana. Can we expect a country song from you guys since that seems to be the new thing with artists these days?
No, no, I think country is too much. We're not American, so I think country is in the blood of American. I love country music, but
For sure.
not all of it, but especially certain kind of like the more dirty country and the old country I like. But I don't think it kind of suit us. And I think maybe we can do something when we are a little older, more folkish. That's yes, acoustic, let's say. That can be a way, I think, yes, because we like to do that, so that's something I can see ourselves doing in the future. And but not really country. Maybe it's too American for us. It's not enough in our blood.
Fair enough. The new album has a couple guests on it. We've got Randy from Lamb of God. We've got Ash from New Year's Day, who both
Yeah.
blend into the record really well. You mentioned that you've known Randy forever. I forget which, if it was an Ozfest, I saw both of you, or a different Ozfest or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know all those
Ozfest
worlds kind of blend together.
2004.
Okay. So you guys have gone back that far with Randy. And
Yeah, it's 20 years, yeah, go on.
and then Ash is somebody that you guys didn't know initially?
No, we knew her not as well as Randy. Like Randy, we've been really good friends, and sometimes he comes to Milan here in Italy to take pictures, and we go out dinner and see some photo exhibit. He comes with his girlfriend, so we're friends beyond that. But we knew each other because we met in several occasions, like award ceremonies or festivals, and we had a tour already planned with them, opening for us in the States, and to do some festivals together, like Welcome to Rockville and some others. And so we wanted a female voice that wasn't like operatic or clean, because we thought that for that song that we needed more of a almost a rock voice, which is a bit more raspy, a bit more rough. And so we considered two or three different singers, and Ash was also one of the choices. So we sent her the song, and she immediately went recording the parts we sent her, and it sounded exactly the way we were expecting to sound. So it was just a perfect match and the right occasion. She's also in the same label as we are, which makes also simpler
Yeah, yeah, totally.
working together as well on a bureaucratic point of view.
Um, is there anybody you guys have would love to have a guest on an album? Because this isn't the first time you've had guests that whether they're metal or not, that you would like to collaborate, whether it's just a one-off or a whole song or something.
Yeah, sure, sure. Actually, we talked also to some other people, but for some reason, of course, schedule and stuff like that, we couldn't make it happen fast enough. So we say, okay, we can do it next time, no worries. And but we didn't also want to put too many collaborations, because I think something we tried in the past, but it was mostly with guitar players doing lead guitars and stuff. Like we had like Miles from Alter Bridge, we had Mark from Nothing More, and some other guys doing lead guitars in our records, but never singers, in the record. So we wanted to do it, but we don't want to overdo it because we already have two singers in the band. So we didn't want to put too many voices in the album. So next time I think we can do some more for sure. And then there's many people we would love to work with. But obviously it depends also on the style of the song you're writing, but definitely something we like to do and we might do again in the future.
So expect the next one to sound like an Arion album where it's everyone has like a choir of famous people. So they sound expensive, but I believe
No, I think we can do a couple more, like two, three more in one record for sure. But it is, sometimes you need to have a certain combination of factors to make it happen, you know.
Speaking of collaborations, you guys are about to go on, well, in the spring, I guess, a North American tour with Machine Head, In Flames, and Unearth. And a big song came out with all the bands to sort of announce that or tease that or something. How did that song come
Yeah.
together? Is it's like a Machine Head song with everybody, or is it an everybody song?
No, it's a Machine Head song. Like Rob, once we found an agreement for the tour, he told us about the idea of launching the tour with the track together. There's been a couple of different options, but some options were just not possible because like one option was that every band could do their version of the song. You know, there could be a collaborative song plus the In Flames version of the song, the Lacuna Coil version, the Unearthed version. The problem is that there was not enough time, and we were already busy recording our own album. And In Flames was on tour with Arch Enemy, so there was not enough time to elaborate such a thing, you know. Because when we take the song and make it like Coil, then we really need to go on the arrangement and change them and slow some parts and change some. So it was not just re-recording the song exactly the same. You know, it would have made sense if we could really make it a Lacuna Coil version. You know, so like almost like a cover version. So that was a good idea, I thought, but it was just too complicated to happen in this quick time. And so we just decided to go with the collaborative version of the song, which was already something we never done before and was interesting to do. And then so we sang a lot of parts, and then Rob with the producer, they build it up. It was not easy because there's so many voices to be put together in one song. It's hard. And then he let us listen to the versions, and we love it. And that's how it happened basically. But it's mostly a Machine Head song.
And I imagine you can't actually answer this, but that'll probably end each night of this tour. Like everyone come out and do
No,
the
we don't
song.
know yet, but
Okay.
it's possible. It's possible. I think it's not excluded. I think if everybody make their homework and
Yeah,
study the parts, I think it can happen. I'm sure it can happen. I'm pretty positive. It could be a good idea. Then it's up to the bands and everybody. Maybe not every show, maybe some shows. I don't know yet. We haven't discussed it yet, but it's very possible.
sure. To kind of change gears as we start winding down, you're somebody who either is or was on Cameo. Are you still on Cameo?
Yeah.
Uh, have you received any strange requests that you either have done or went ahead and passed on, or anything that surprised you to say to a fan or somebody? And if so, what?
Yeah. I, I, I wasn't expecting some people are really deep into it. Like it's very heartfelt. And like they really ask you for like message of they're going through some very difficult time and they want an encouragement, like a hope message, like some words of wisdom, which is not always easy to do. Uh, but I thought it was more like more easy, happy birthday, whatever, you know, like, and it's okay. I mean, I don't mind. People ask me all the time to send videos to their friends of hey, so can you say good when they get promoted at the job or they get, you know, so everybody is asking me all the time to make videos. So I thought that way everybody in the world that if they want they can contact me. I can make a little bit of extra money, which is fine, but I mean we're not talking massive amount of money, but it's okay. And it's a good way to give the fans something extra. But very often it's actually a deeper message than I thought. You know, maybe the weirdest one was when they ask you to like a wedding thing, you know, like somebody want to propose their wife or something like that. That's a bit weird, but I guess it is a new way of the world, you know. In the beginning I wasn't sure I want to do it or not, but then I check other messages from other and I don't see anything weird about it, you know. And I actually when they come with these more deep messages, it's kind of cool because I would hope to do it live. It would be cool to do it like getting a chat with people and talking about, you know, what they gave them some advice or more about music now than live, obviously. But I think it's cool that people relate to you so much, you know, or respect your opinion so much. You know, it's great.
So when you say the wedding thing, did you like propose to somebody on their behalf, or was it just like congratulations on the wedding? Because that's fascinating either way.
No, yeah, a lot of time we get asked if people can propose on our meet and greet on
Okay.
live. Like when they come to the meet and greet at the show, they want to propose their wife and they want us to oversee the ceremony, let's say, not really propose ourselves, but let's say, hey, Mark, I have something to tell you, and then he comes up with the ring or stuff like that. We also had once, a couple of times, we had wedding proposal on stage before the encore. Like some people, and one of our sound guys, he got married on stage.
Got married. Wow.
we
Okay.
we had a judge coming out. Okay, yeah, between before the encore. Our drummer, our old drummer, is an American guy. He was able to get people married. He had the permission to marry people, and so he got them married on stage. And then the marriage actually came out as a disaster, and
Oh
they
shit.
divorced,
Okay.
and so I
Oh
don't
no.
recommend. I don't recommend it to do.
Anyone listening,
But
don't get
people
married at a
come.
Lacuna Coil show. They're cursed.
Yeah. No, I mean we had some very successful weddings, but and one really cool thing was that we had a couple came with their baby kid, who was like now was like 8 years old or something. And the baby came to us and say, "Oh, thank you very much. I'm born because of you," because their parents they met at our concert. They got married and they got the kid. So the kid came to say to us, "Thank you very much because I was born thanks to you." So people is like
Sure.
they just like to have a good time, and it is what it is. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's a disaster.
So the last question I like to ask people, and I think we kind of already touched on this, but there's a sub story after this, is what is your first band called and what did it sound like? I think it was you and Marco back in the day, or somebody
Yeah,
else
the
for that.
very first one, it was me and Marco, and it was we thought we were doing metal, but I think we were doing more punk because we're not so good with music, with instruments. So
Mhm.
I think we were thinking we were doing like some really good qualities, and it wasn't that good. But and it was called Arachnophobia, which was the title of a movie about spiders.
Were you afraid of
And
spiders
and so we
yourself?
just no, but we
Okay.
just liked the movie and we liked the title because it was a cool title for the time, and we were doing some mix of punk rock and metal.
So the sub story on
I
this, and
think that's the first one.
I had the honor of telling Christina this a couple years ago, and I'm happy I can tell you this as well. My first band was called Silent So Loud after a Metallica lyric from Whom the Bell Tolls. We played exactly one show,
Okay.
and in that show, we covered Heaven's a Lie. And it was like the only
Oh, nice.
approval we got from the people we were playing for. It was like a high school battle of the bands. Everything else about the set was a disaster. Guitars were out of tune. Like things fell over. It was a mess. But I still have like such a fondness for that moment, and it kind of set me on this trajectory to be someone who likes to play on shows and play bass and stuff like that. And like Lacuna Coil music has meant much to me about, my whole musical whatever career is a strong word, but uh development, I guess you could say. So I just wanted to tell you guys that
Yeah,
thank you for the great music coming on the show and all that stuff. And the new album's fantastic. And I think you're coming around my neck of the woods in the spring, and I'm hopefully gonna be in attendance because Machine Head in the Bay
yeah,
Area. That's
great. Yeah, see you at the show.
how to do it. So
Yeah, I actually seen them the first time I've seen Machine Head was they opened for Slayer on the Divine Intervention tour here in Milan. So I saw them the first time. I told Rob. It
oh wow, so that's what, like 97 or something earlier?
was like the
Oh
Burn My
yeah.
Eyes just came out basically. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so the very, very groovy stuff. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on my show. I know you've probably got other folks to chat to through the rest of your afternoon or evening, but so yeah.
Yeah, another three more.
All right. Well, tell them I said hi, and thank you for coming on the show. And yeah, have a good rest of your day, man. Of
Yeah, have a good day. Bye. Thank you very much.
course. Thank you.